What's up, you guys? Welcome back to V.S.O.P Sports Radio. We only drink the finest of cognac. I'm your host, Ryan, and today we are talking about the fact that the NBA and TNT did Haliburton kind of dirty. But before we get into that, if you guys do me a huge favor, hit that like and subscribe button, because my philosophy is if you enjoy the vibe, then why not like and subscribe? Now, let's get into it. At the conclusion of the Eastern Conference Finals, Ernie Johnson from TNT presented the Indiana Pacers with the Eastern Conference Finals trophy and presented the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. First of all, before we get into the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, I always thought that this trophy was supposed to be, a result of a player's contribution through the Eastern Conference playoff run, not the Eastern Conference Finals. To me, it makes absolutely no sense to have a trophy for the Eastern Conference Finals just to give another one for the finals. I think it makes a lot more sense if you give, you have your regular season MVP, then you've got your playoff run MVP, and then you got your finals MVP. That to me makes more sense. But at the end of the game, Ernie Johnson, they present Pascal Siakam with the Eastern Conference Final MVP trophy. And if you look very closely, and I couldn't share the video, but if you look very closely, if you go back and watch that clip, Tyrese Haliburton really thought it was about to be him. Right as they were getting ready to call the name, Tyrese Haliburton starts kind of walking, to the front. So that he can get to the podium easier. And then they call Pascal Siakam, and he kind of looks surprised. And you can kind of understand his surprise. Don't get me wrong. Pascal Siakam did a great job this series, but so did Tyrese Haliburton. And if you look at the comparison of the two, Pascal Siakam averaged 24.8, so 25, 5, and 3, while Tyrese Haliburton averaged 21, 10, and 6. If you ask me, Tyrese Haliburton had more of an impact. Don't get me wrong, Siakam definitely contributed. But that game one, when Tyrese Haliburton hit that shot at the buzzer, did the choke sign, and then had another 30-point triple-double. Also in the series, I truly thought it should have been Tyrese Haliburton, but they called Pascal Siakam. Fine. They interview Pascal Siakam. Then, Ernie Johnson interviews Pascal Siakam, then gives prop. Then, Ernie Johnson gives props to Thomas Bryant. Well deserved. He was the X factor tonight. Then he has an interview with Miles Turner, who's, been there for a while. And then he didn't even bother to bring up Tyrese Haliburton just for a quick, just Tyrese, how's it, just his thoughts about going to the finals. Absolutely no mention of that. And so it seemed like Tyrese Haliburton, it's if you look at the last two seasons, Tyrese Haliburton and Jason Tatum have been thoroughly disrespected. The same thing happened to Jason Tatum, not winning the Eastern Conference. He did him dirty in the Olympics like Tyrese Haliburton. He didn't get the Eastern Conference, trophy. And I don't know what's going on. But anyway, I'm curious to know you guys' thoughts. If you saw tonight's trophy presentation, do you think that they got it right, or do you feel like, okay, if Siakam got the trophy, should they have at least interviewed Tyrese Haliburton? Because again, me personally, I think Tyrese should have gotten, the trophy, and at the very least, ask the man his thoughts. Now, of course, afterwards, when it was inside the NBA or whatever the after show was called, they had Tyrese Haliburton up there with Pascal Siakam. I think somebody probably said something because they were like, let's bring those guys on, have a conversation. But anyway, let me know your thoughts, and I'll catch you guys next time here at V.S.O.P Sports Radio. Peace.